Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Romeo and I am a faculty librarian at Hudson Valley Community College. And today I'm going to be giving you an overview of how to use ReferenceUSA to find different business information. So we'll be reviewing today how to navigate the ReferenceUSA database to find information including your industry size, different types of industry trends and how to interpret that data, how to evaluate your competition, and how to look up your target market in a specific area. One tip I have for you is to have your NAICS code handy when you're looking at ReferenceUSA because that's the most targeted way to search. So you can find your NAICS code by going to naics.com/search. And if you're not familiar with how to use that website, I've made another video on that, so look out for that. But you can go on there and type in a keyword for your industry. So for my example, I'm using gymnasium or gym. And then once you hit search, it'll come up with a few different options and you can select the most appropriate number. And in my case, it was 713940 for fitness and recreational sports centers. So that's what I'll be using for my examples when I search in ReferenceUSA today. So next we'll go live and I'll open my browser. First I'll show you how to access the database from the Hudson Valley website because you'll need to go in that way to be authenticated and sign in to use the database. And then I'll show you a quick way to determine your industry size. So here we are at the Hudson Valley website, which should look familiar to you. That's hvcc.edu. And once we're here, we're going to look for the black bar near the top of the page and look for the word library. And let's click on that link. And that will take us to the library's homepage. So if we scroll down, we'll see a photo of the library. But keep going until you see the purple box that says Find Sources in the Dwight Marvin Library. And that's where you'll go to get access to all of our library resources. So we'll click that. And that'll open OneSearch, which is our library resource search engine. And we're going to ignore this search bar in OneSearch for now, and what we're going to look for is the database finder link in the black bar across the top of the page. So we'll click on that. So normally OneSearch searches all of our databases at the same time, but because we want to go into a specific one on its own, we're going to click that link and it'll take us to our A to Z listing, our alphabetical listing of all of our databases. So you can scroll down if you want to, or you can click on R for ReferenceUSA and that'll bring it right up. It's the first one that comes up under R. So let's click that. We'll log in with our Hudson Valley username and password. And then we'll sign in, and that should give us access to the database. Here we are on the ReferenceUSA homepage now. You'll see the Hudson Valley logo comes up, so that means you're logged in. You should have access to everything that we pay for in our subscription. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll see you have these different available databases. There's a few different kinds. It looks like there's about 10 of them. The one we're going to be using first and most often is the U.S. business database. So you can see 57 million businesses. So when we want to access that, we'll hit the green search link underneath. And that'll open a new page. It defaults to the quick search tab, but we're not going to really find that useful for our research purposes. We're going to always want to go to the advanced search tab. So if we click that, it opens a new page and you can see on the left side, it opens up a whole bunch of different options so you can really narrow down your search. And then on the right, you're going to see the view results green button and the update count blue button and the total number of record counts. So those are going to be important when we're filtering our search results, as you'll see in a moment. So we want to start at gym, as per my example, and we want to know what's the approximate industry size in the United States, because we're in the U.S. business database. What's the approximate size of that industry in the United States currently? So what we'll do first, and this is a pattern you're going to see repeated in quite a few of these examples, is we're going to want to use the keyword SIC NAICS search. So we're going to click that checkbox. And as you can see, a new box popped up here. The next thing you're going to do is select the button for Search All NAICS Codes, or Search All NAICS, rather. Then you'll type in your code in this box that pops up. And so our code is 713940. And if we let it think for a moment, you'll see that under our results, it pops up right here. So what you're going to want to do is always click on that and make sure it's in the selected box below. So that's important when you're using Reference USA. You have to click on the result you want, and it has to show up in this box down here. So next, we're going to go over to the right-hand side of the page and click the blue Update Count button. So as you can see, our record count went down a lot. So what that's done is you've now searched all of the U.S. businesses that Reference USA has in their database under the NAICS code 713940 for fitness and recreational sports centers, and there are 101,348 of them in the United States. Next, I'm going to show you how to use Reference USA to find out some different industry trends. So, how to look for industry trends. As you can see, we're back here on the Reference USA homepage. We're going to scroll down and we're going to use the U.S. Businesses database again. We're going to click the green search button. Again, we're going to go to the advanced search. And now that we're in our advanced search interface, we're going to use the keyword SIC NAICS checkbox. We're going to search all NAICS, so click that button. We're going to put in our NAICS code 713940. We're going to make sure we click on this result and add it below. Then we're going to hit Update Count again. This should be familiar. So now let's click View Results this time. All right, everyone, here we are on our results page. This should be the same 101,348 results we got when we looked up our industry size. And from here, you can actually scroll through and examine all of your results. We're not going to do that right now, but you'll see that you can actually click on the business and look at the business profile, their address, phone number, different demographic information, employees, sales volume, all sorts of great information about their finances and things like that. So that's what each of these links will bring you in the results page. So to look up some industry trends, one thing you can do is you can click this blue button that says heat map here, and that will generate an image of the country with different colors that show densities of businesses. So the more red it is, as you can see here, the higher the density, and the greener it is, the lower the density. So these can take a little while to generate. So I've just got a sample one open here in a different tab for time's sake. This isn't for gymnasiums, but you can see that especially over here on the East Coast for this map, there are higher concentrations over here, some around Chicago and things like that. So they're kind of grouped around the major cities for this map. But what you can also do is in the live map, this is just an image that I have open here, you can zoom in and out so you could get right down to Albany County and see where there are different concentrations of your business, or perhaps there are none at all, and that's a good thing. So it's a way to sort of examine the trends in different areas of the country. So we'll go back, see it's still generating, so that's why I had the image open. So on our results list, another way to look at industry trends is to view the charts option here, which is another one of these blue buttons at the top. So if we click on that, it should generate some interesting graphs and charts for us. Okay, here we are on our charts page after it's loaded. So you'll see that one has generated for us here, but there's a series of links under the title here. And I like to start with the city page. So here we go. This generated a graph out of 5,000. There are 5,187 U.S. businesses grouped into 7 cities. So these are basically the top 7 cities with the most gymnasiums. Surprise, surprise, New York, Houston, Los Angeles. These are all major cities, so that's not surprising, but it's interesting to know how they're scattered across the country, and you might be able to determine a trend from that, such as maybe there are more gyms on the West Coast rather than the East Coast, things like that. You can also check this by zip code. All right, here's our zip code chart that loaded. As you can see, these are the 522 U.S. businesses. And these are the top 7 zip codes in which they're clustered. And let's see, looks like a lot of them are on the East Coast. 10 is usually New York City, but there's another one in here, so that's probably the West Coast right there. But anyway, this can give you an idea. You can look these zip codes up on Google and see where the top 7 more specific areas where your business is clustered. You can look at sales volume charts. It'll do you a pie chart. You can see that The vast majority of gyms do less than $500,000 in business, but there's a good portion that don't, so that's something to consider as well, that make a little bit more or a lot more. You can also run an employee size chart. As you can see, the vast majority of gyms have between 1 and 4 employees, then 5 to 9, and then 10 to 19. So most gyms in the United States that reported have under 20 employees. So again, these are just some trends you can get by running the chart function in ReferenceUSA after you've done your search result for your NAICS code. All right, we're going to do a little bit more with some industry trends here. We're back on the ReferenceUSA homepage. And for this search, we're going to use a different database. If we scroll down, this time we're going to use the U.S. Historical Businesses database. So we'll click the green search button. And as you can see, this lets us search all the way back to 1997. So we can get about 22 years worth of information about businesses that have opened and closed and things like that. So the regular search function only searches businesses that are still open as far as ReferenceUSA knows. So this includes everything. So again, we're going to go to the Advanced Search tab. And once our Advanced Search tab opens, we're going to do the familiar thing and check the box for keyword/SIC/NAICS. When that box pops up, we're going to click the button for Search All NAICS, and we're going to type in our NAICS code 713940. We will click on our results, make sure it shows up down here, and we're going to update our count. And then what we're going to do is, if we want to narrow our search a little more, you can see that this is showing that in the United States between 1997 and 2019, instead of 101,000 businesses, there were over a million, almost 1.5 million businesses that were classified under the NAICS code for gymnasium. So let's narrow that down a little bit. Let's check in our local metro area. So what we can do now is go over to the geography section of our checkboxes, and let's click metro area. Now, as you can see, it added some boxes down here. So we can select a state. Let's do New York. Let's do the local area. And then Albany, Troy is actually the first one that pops up, so let's grab that. Let's update our count now. So as you can see, historically, over the last 22 years, there have been a total of 3,615 businesses in the Albany, Troy metro area that fall under our NAICS code. So let's view our results now. So what you can do with this information, you can see on our result page here. Again, you can look at your charts or your heat map and things like that. But you might want to pay attention to the years that these businesses were in business. How long is the average gym in business for? Are gyms staying in business? If not, can you think about the reasons why they might not have? What happened the year that so many of these gyms closed? Things like that. These are just things you can think about in terms of historical trends. When things are opening, years they're closing, the average length that the business is open for. So you can use these results to think about that. And that's another way to look at trends, local business trends historically, using ReferenceUSA. Next, we're going to use ReferenceUSA to assess our competition in the business market. All right, we're back at the ReferenceUSA homepage to look at how to assess our local competition for our business. All right, so for this one, we're going to scroll down and we're going to use our US business database again, and we're going to click the green search button. We're going to again use our advanced search tab. And from here, we're going to do our familiar keyword SIC NAICS code and check that box. We're going to click the button for Search All NAICS, and we're going to put in our NAICS code 713940. We're going to click it. We're going to make sure it shows up in selected, and we're going to update our count. Now, just like we did for our historical business when we were assessing historically the trends in our local area, we're also going to use the geography box for this. So under the geography box, we're going to use the metro area one again. We'll scroll down. We will search for New York. Let's find it. And we'll do Albany, Troy again, just because that's our local area. And we're going to update our count. So now, instead of looking at a historical view of all of the gyms that have ever been in business in the last 20 years, we're looking at all of the gyms that are currently in business in our metro area. And as you can see, that number is much lower. We're at 211. So what you can do is you can go ahead and view these results. So now what we've got here is we've got our list of 211 businesses that are classified under the NAICS code 713940 for sports and recreational centers. And what you can do is you can go through and see what all these businesses are, but you can also click on their names, like I mentioned before, to get some more information. You've got your address, you've got your sales volume and employees, expenditures, sales volume by year. As you can see, this business has dropped off quite a bit, and things like that. But you can also go down to the bottom and you'll see a bar that says Competitors Report all the way at the bottom. So if you click Expand on the right, this will bring up a list of all of the businesses that are deemed to be direct competitors of the business that you're looking at. So as you can see, you might want to discount this first one. I'm not sure why it's showing up Connecticut. It seems kind of far away. But you can start looking especially at the ones that are in Albany and Latham and maybe even Queensbury and things like that, all the 518 numbers, and start looking at those business profiles so you can get an idea of who your competitors are even. So ReferenceUSA, as you can see, is a good way to sort of dig down deep and start to find out the different businesses that you'll be competing with, and again, who their competitors are. All right, finally, I'm going to show you how to use ReferenceUSA to examine your target market in a given area. All right, we're back at the ReferenceUSA homepage, and at this point, we've used ReferenceUSA to examine some industry trends, our industry size for gymnasiums, our competition for gyms in our local area. Now let's look at our target market. So again, let's stick to the local area. So for this one, we're going to use another different database. We're going to scroll down to the U.S. Consumers and Lifestyles database. We'll click Search. And again, we're going to want to use that handy Advanced Search tab. So this search is actually going to be a little different. We won't be using our NAICS code, but what we will be using is we'll go ahead and use the zip code search this time instead of metro area. So you can use these differently if you want. So let's type in a zip code. Let's type Troy. We'll do Hudson Valley zip code 12180. And you can choose if you want to choose every person in the household or one person per household, so you'll only count the household once in terms of contacts. So what the U.S. and Consumers Lifestyle database does is it's going to show you the number of individual people in a specific zip code that are interested in your business. So how do you find that out? Well, you'll see. So we've typed in our zip code, and we'll choose all per household. So that'll count. If there's a husband and a wife, it'll count for 2 people. So what we'll do now is we'll go down to the lifestyles box, and we'll check that box. And what this does is it opens up a bunch of different categories and drop downs. You can see you can make them a little more specific depending on the category. And through market research and purchasing and other things like that, ReferenceUSA has gathered all this data to find out which individuals in a household are interested in something. So what we'll do is, because our business is a gym, we'll choose the category for health, diet, and fitness. And if you drop it down, you can check or uncheck these boxes. So what we'll be doing with this search is we will be finding every person in the 12180 zip code that has been deemed to be interested in the health, diet, and fitness lifestyle category by ReferenceUSA and all of the different companies it gathers data from. So with that said, let's update our count, and we'll see that in the Troy zip code area, there are 5,885 people that are deemed to be interested in the health, diet, and fitness category. So if we were opening a gym, this is something we'd want to consider. First of all, we can use it with some of the other data we've uncovered so far in terms of our industry size. We can say, are there a lot of gyms in this area? are there a lot of people interested in gyms? So if there are a lot of people interested in gyms and there aren't a lot of gyms, this might be a good thing, or vice versa, depending on what type of business you're using. So you can start to be analytical about this information. All right, so I will show you one other thing. You can actually view your results, and you have to use this information very ethically because ReferenceUSA will actually give you the names and addresses, phone numbers, and sometimes the email of all of the people who are interested in your business. So I don't know what specifically you'd use that for, but you can see how powerful of a tool that ReferenceUSA can be in terms of determining your target market and the kinds of people who would be interested in your business in a very specific area. You can do a city and state search, you can do a metro area, you could do it in the county, you could even do it by street or neighborhood. So it's something to consider that you actually have all of this research data right at your fingertips, right in ReferenceUSA. So now that you've had an overview of ReferenceUSA, I'm sure you're probably a little overwhelmed because it's a very powerful database and there's a lot that you can do in it. But I just want to assure you that everything we talked about today can be accessed through our entrepreneurship research guide, including step-by-step tutorials. That can be found at libguides.hvcc.edu/entrepreneur. And I'll click on that link and show you what the web page looks like. So here's the research guide, and if you just go over to the tab that says Entrepreneurship 110, 120, 290, if you scroll down, you'll see a tutorials box, and there's a ReferenceUSA, the basic slideshow, which will click you through everything I showed you today. So don't forget that that's there for you to use, and it's up all the time. Finally, we're here to help you. Again, my name is Sarah Romeo. My email address is s.romeo@hvcc.edu. We also have an Ask a Librarian service at libguides.hvcc.edu/ask. We have a 24/7 chat service. You can email us or make a research appointment with us, and we're here to help you with your assignments at any time. I hope this presentation was helpful, and I wish you the best of luck using ReferenceUSA.